गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जना यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना तीरावनचारी। जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare, Jayo Radha, Vallabha Radha, Vallabha Shri Radhe. Jayo Jagannatha, Jagannatha, Baladeva, Jayo Subhadra. Jayo Gauranitai, 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 Jayo Gauranitai. Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai, Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Jayom Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtottara Shatashri Śrīmad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to His Divine Grace. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavatiruttama shloke bhaktirbhavati naishtaki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you for today's discussion of Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. We are reading from 9th Canto, Chapter 1, and we will read a few verses up to 17, because most of them do not have purports. So we'll read the chapter summary and then we'll read the verse. Or maybe we'll read the verse first and then the chapter summary too. Verse number 1. Shri Raja Uvacha Manvantarani Sarvani Tvayoktani Shrutani Me Viryanyananta Viryasya Hares Tatra Kritani Cha. Shri Raja Uvacha Manvantarani Sarvani Tvayoktani Shrutani Me Viryanyananta Viryasya Hares Tatra Kritani Cha. Shri Raja Uvacha Manvantarani Sarvani Tvayoktani Shrutani Me Viryanyananta Viryasya Hares Tatra Kritani Cha. Shri Raja Uvacha Manvantarani Sarvani Tayoktani Shrutani Me Taviryasya Hares Tatra Kritani Cha. Shri Raja Uvacha Viryananta Viryasya Hares Tatra Kritani Cha. Matajis.
Shri Raja Vacha Manvantarani Sarvani Tvayoktani Srutrani Me Viryani Ananta Viryasya
Viryanyananta Viryasya Hares Tatra Kritani Cha. Word to word. Shri Raja Uvacha. King Parikshit said, Manvantarani, all about the periods of various Manus. Sarvani, all of them. Tvaya, by you. Uktani, have been described. Shrutani, have been listened to. Me, by me. Viryani, wonderful activities. Ananta Viryasya, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. who has unlimited potency. Hare, of the Supreme Lord, Hari, Tatra, in those Manvantara periods, Kritani, which have been performed, Cha, also. Translation. King Parikshit said, "My Lord Shukadeva Goswami, you have elaborately described all the periods of the various Manus, and within those periods the wonderful activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has unlimited potency. I am fortunate to have heard all of this from you." I'll read the chapter summary as well. King Sudyumna becomes a woman. This chapter describes how Sudyumna became a woman and how the dynasty of the Vaivasvata Manu was amalgamated with the Somavamsha, the dynasty coming from the moon. By the desire of Parikshit Maharaj, Shukadeva Goswami told about the dynasty of Vaivasvata Manu, who was formerly King Satyavrata, the ruler of Dravida. While describing this dynasty, he also described how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, while lying down in the waters of the devastation, gave birth to Lord Brahma from a lotus generated from his navel. From the mind of Lord Brahma, Marichi was generated, and his son was Kashyapa. From Kashyapa, through Aditi, Vivasvan was generated, and from Vivasvan came Śrīmad Manu, who was born from the womb of Samgna. Shraddhadeva's wife, Shraddha, gave birth to 10 sons such as Ikshvaku and Nruga. Shraddhadeva, or Vaivasvata Manu, the father of Maharaja Ikshvaku, was sonless before Ikshvaku's birth. But by the grace of the great sage Vashishta, he performed a yagna to satisfy Mitra and Varuna. Then, although Vaivasvata Manu wanted a son, by the desire of his wife, he got a daughter named Ila. Manu, however, was not satisfied with the daughter. Consequently, for Manu's satisfaction, the great sage Vashishta prayed for Ila to be transformed into a boy. And his prayer was fulfilled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, Ila became a beautiful young man called Sudyumna. Once upon a time, Sudyumna went on a tour with his ministers. At the foot of the mountain Sumeru, there is a forest named Sukumara. And as soon as they entered that forest, they were all transferred into women. When Maharaja Parikshit inquired from Shukadeva Goswami about the reason for this transformation, Shukadeva Goswami described how Sudyumna, being transferred into woman, accepted Buddha, the son of the moon, as her husband and had a son named Pururava. By the grace of Lord Shiva, Sudyumna received the benediction that he would live 1 month as a woman and 1 month as a man. Thus he regained his kingdom and had 3 sons named Utkala, Gaya and Vimala, who were all very religious. Therefore he entrusted his kingdom to Pururava and took the order of Vanaprastha life. We will read a few verses up to 17. Verse 2 and 3. Yosau satyavrato nama rajarshir dravideshwarah jnanam yotita kalpante lebhe purusha sevaya savai vivasvatah putro manur asiditi shrutam tatvatastasya sutah prokta ikshvaku pramukha nripah. Satyavrata, the saintly king of Dravida Desha, who received spiritual knowledge at the end of the last millennium by the grace of the Supreme, later became Vaivasvata Manu, the son of Vivasvan, in the next Manvantara period of Manu. I have received this knowledge from you. I also understand that such kings of Ikshvaku were his sons, such kings as Ikshvaku were his sons, as you have already explained. Tesham vamsham pratak brahman vamshano charitani cha kirtayasva mahabhaga nityam shushrushatam hinah. O O greatly fortunate Shukadeva Goswami, O great Brahmana, kindly describe to us separately the dynasties and characteristics of all those kings, for we always are eager to hear such topics from you. Ye bhuta ye bhavishyascha bhavanti adyantanascha ye tesham nah punya kiritinam sarvesham vada vikraman. Kindly tell us about the abilities of all the celebrated kings born in the dynasty of Vaivasvata Manu, including those who have already passed, those who may appear in the future, and those who exist at present. Shri Suta Uvacha, Evam Parikshita Ragna Sadasi Brahmavadinam Prishtha Pravacha Bhagavan Chukah Paramadharmavit. Suta Goswami said, when Shukadeva Goswami, the greatest knower of the religious principles, was thus requested by Maharaj Parikshit in the assembly of all the scholars learned in Vedic knowledge, he then proceeded to speak. Shri Shukha Vacha Shruyatam Manavo Vamsha Prachuryena Prantapa Nashakyate Vistarato Vaktum Varsha Shatairip Api. Shukadeva Goswami continued, O king, subduer of your enemies, now hear from me in great detail about the dynasty of Manu. I shall explain as much as possible, although one could not say everything about it, even in hundreds of years. We will continue reading and speaking in between because I don't want to read all the verses and then discuss. We'll discuss as we go. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sva Padantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishna Vamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajevam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yam pravrajantam anupetam apeta krityam dvaipayana viraha katara ajuhava putreti tanmayataya taravobhinedu stham sarvabhuta hridayam munimanatosmi. Hare Krishna, welcome all of you. I seek the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas to speak something that is pleasing to the Lordships and all the Vaishnavas assembled, and also for my own purification. So, we are reading from Canto 9. So this is a very significant canto. Rama Navami is coming about, and Canto 9 also speaks about Lord Rama and his pastimes. So as is usually a paddhati, a process, when we speak Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, it is also ideal to glorify this wonderful literature before we actually delve into this literature. But before even we glorify Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, I was thinking, let us glorify a little bit of the author of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Vyasadeva. Our Vyasadeva, Vyasa is a position actually. It's like a prime minister. Prime minister is a position. Vyasadeva also is a position. So every Manvantara, every yuga sometimes, or every Manvantara, the Vyasadeva changes. But our current Vyasadeva is called Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa. Krishna Dvaipayana, he's also the color of Krishna, is dark bluish. Dvaipayana because he was born on a dvipa called island. So because he was born on an island, he's become Dvaipayana Vyasa. He is none other than the Supreme Lord himself, because that's why he's called as the literary incarnation. Not every Vyasadeva is a literary incarnation. This is a literary incarnation, our Vyasa. In the Skanda Purana, there is a shloka which is said, which is very relevant for the verses we are reading here, because the chapter itself is a bit shocking. The chapter's name is King Sudyumna Becomes a Woman, which is very famous these days. Very changing of the genders is very common these days. So why this type of chapters come in the Bhagavatam, or why does Vyasa writes, is a bit of a meditation. There is a verse in Skanda Purana which says, Vyasa chitta shita akashad avicchinnani kanichit anye vyavaharanti etani urikritya grihadiva. This verse says, just as people living in a house, they use several things in the house. For example, you go to the kitchen, use the utensils, use the cooktop, cook something and use it. Similarly, many people around the universe have taken knowledge from Vyasa's heart. Vyasa chitta shita akashad. Vyasa chitta shita akashad. What it means is, we can know the product by knowing the creator of the product. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is a product created by Srila Vyasadeva. So when we know who is Vyasa, then we will come to know what is Bhagavatam. Here, Vyasadeva's heart is compared to Akasha. Vyasa Chitta. The Chitta means the heart, or Chitta means a memory shell. Because there is no equivalent word for Chitta in English in that sense. Because Chitta and Manas work together. Yoga, if you go to Ashtanga Yoga and Patanjali Yogas, Chitta is a very important aspect, or a subtle body aspect in the body, because there are five elements of subtle body. You know what are the 5 elements of subtle body? Subtle body. Mind, intelligence, false ego. Mind, intelligence, false ego, Chitta and Ahankar. Chitta and, Yes, false ego, Chitta and, there's one more, I keep forgetting. Chitta and, there's one more. There are 5 elements in the subtle body, and one of them is Chitta. Chitta is like the memory shell which feeds the Manas. You know, when we chant, the mind seems to go here and there. That going here and there is actually propagated by Chitta. It's not the mind. Mind actually selects either this or that. But the thing that comes to our mind is fed by Chitta. That memory, that all the memories that we hold in our life in many, many millions of lifetimes is stored as a hard drive in Chitta. And it is Chitta which keeps giving us, hey, do this, hey, do that, hey, do this. And mind then catches on to one thing. So that's why Chitta is a very important point. So here, Vyasa's Chitta is compared to an Akasha. Vyasa chitta sthita akashad avicchinnani kanichit. Means, this sky, from this sky emanates sound. Because you know how the material creation happens. From Akasha only comes Shabda. Akashad Vayuhu. Vayu has the property of Shabda. Akashad Vayuhu, Vayor Agnihi, Agnayor Apaha, Apayor Prithvi. That's how it gets created. Similarly, the sky is compared to Vyasadeva's chitta or heart. And from the sky comes sound. Is it not? Similarly, from Vyasa's chitta comes the sound, which is the Shruti, which is the Vedas. So therefore, and it is also called as, this knowledge that is coming from Vyasa's chitta, it is called as Vyacho Uchishtam. You know what is Uchishta? Uchishta means the remnants. What is left out? You know, the Maha we take from Maharajas when they come, that is called Uchishtam. Vyachochistam Jagat Sarvam. Every knowledge that we see in this existence is Vyasochistam. Every knowledge, whatever knowledge we are seeing even today, what we will see in next millennia, is always going to be the remnants of Vyasadeva. So therefore, everything that we see today as knowledge is nothing but Vyasa's knowledge. Even the AI, artificial intelligence, whatever will be discovered, all of this will be covered by Vyasadeva in some form or the other, maybe as subtle knowledge. There is nothing new to be discovered, that's what it means. Now, coming to Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, this is the glory of Srila Vyasadeva. Now, when he compiled this, it is said that when he compiled the Shrutis, the Vedas themselves say there are 3 people bereft of studying the Vedas. There are 3 people who don't have the adhikar to study the Vedas. Who are they, you know? You know who are those 3 who have no authority to study the Vedas? Three people who don't have adhikar to study the Vedas. Very controversial. Yes. Yeah, Stri, Shudra, Brahma Bandhu. There are 3 people who actually don't have adhikar to study the Vedas. Stri, Shudra and Brahma Bandhu. Generally, this is the guideline given. Who is a Brahma Bandhu? Yeah, those who are born in the Brahmana family. They don't have adhikar. Why? Because when they don't follow the Brahmana vritti, then they don't have adhikar. Even though they might be born as Brahmanas. Who is the Brahma Bandhu in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam? It begins with Ashwathama. He is a Brahma Bandhu. Brahma Bandhu because he is born as a son of Dronacharya, but he doesn't have, although the glorious son of Dronacharya, he doesn't have access to study the Vedas because of his vritti. So then what is the hope for us? We are neither of them. We are lower than Shudras, then what is the hope? So that is why it is very important to understand so much, and that is why the importance of Narada Muni coming to Vyasadeva and suggesting Vyasadeva. You have created so many Vedas. On top of it, you have given adhikar only to those Brahmanas to study. And apart from that, those Brahmanas are also not able to assimilate the knowledge given by the Vedas. They are not able to clearly say, what is the purpose of these Vedas? So you have created, by compiling so much literature, you have created more confusion only. And Vyasadeva is despondent. And that's when Prabhupada writes one verse in Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, which we have discussed this many times. Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam Bharatartha Vinirnayaha Gayatri Bhashya Rupausau Vedartha Paribrimhitaha Grantho Ashtadasha Shahasrashaha Śrīmad Bhāgavatādibhi. Now, when Narada Muni is addressing Vyasadeva for his despondency, interestingly, in the Agni Purana, there is this verse which says, Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam, means Brahma Sutra. You know the Brahma Sutras? How many Brahma Sutras do we have? You know what is a Brahma Sutra? We have the Vedas, and then to compile the Vedas, there are 543 formulas Vyasadeva has written, called the Vedanta Sutra. That is called as Brahma Sutras. They are called as aphorisms. They are all one-liner. First, you know what is the first Brahma Sutra? Yeah, Om Athato Brahma Jigyasa Om. That is the first Brahma Sutra. And like that, there are 543. Now, when he compiled these Brahma Sutras, first of all, he said only three people are bereft, only Brahmanas can study. So, what is that he wrote in Agni Purana? In Agni Purana, he has written, there is one scripture which contains the meaning Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam. The whole Vedanta compiled is Brahma Sutras. Now there is something that is giving the whole meaning of the Brahma Sutra. Artho Ayam. The meaning of these Brahma Sutras I am giving. Where? I'm giving that in Grantho, which one Grantha I've given them the meaning of this whole Brahma Sutra in one Grantha, which has Ashtadasha Sahasrashaha. Ashtadasha means what? 18. Sahasrasa means 1000, 18,000. This Grantha has 18,000 verses. Śrīmad Bhāgavatadibihi. So Vyasadeva has already written a verse in Agni Purana that there will be a Grantha which has 18,000 verses called as Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. In Agni Purana is already written. So why was he despondent then? So that despondency is just to create a Leela. So that Narada Muni instructs so that he can demonstrate to us that he has to always take the instructions from his spiritual master. And then he compiled Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And this Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, he says, see, people might be bereft of studying the Vedas, but we have to, that's why it's a very controversial thing. But people are not bereft from taking the knowledge of the Vedas. Makes sense? People are bereft from studying the Vedas for some reason. There might be some scientific reason which we don't know. But people are not bereft from taking and accessing the knowledge of the Vedas. Studying and gaining knowledge are two different facets. You might not study the Vedas. Is there a way I can get the knowledge that is written in the Vedas? Yes. How? Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam. I have given that knowledge compiled where? Śrīmad Bhāgavatadibihi. So therefore, we are reading Bhagavatam, which is the entire summary of Vedanta Sutra and the Vedas. Now, think about it. One Vedanta Sutra, one Sutra, Shri Athato Brahma Jigyasa Om, current date, as we talk, there are at least 16 to 18,000 pages of worth of research done only on the first sutra. Right now, whatever we have collected so far, 18,000 pages for first sutra. Multiply that by 543. How much research has been done just on the Brahma Sutras? We are only talking of Brahma Sutras. What to talk of the 4 Vedas, the 4 sections in each Vedas. Imagine how vast it is and how much confusion one can go into. So therefore, given today's day and age, you know what Vyasadeva did? He compiled the entire, not just one sutra, he compiled the entire Brahma Sutra in one verse on Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. You know what that verse is? One verse has the entire 543 Brahma Sutras compiled and encrypted in one verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadyasya Yatonvayaditarataschartheshva Bhignaswarat Tene Brahma Hridayadi Kavaye Muhyanti Yatusurayah Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimaya Yatra Trisargom Risha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirastakuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. He's compiled in one verse. Now this one verse, Acharyas go days. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur commented on this for 28 days. One verse. He spoke for 28 days non-stop. He was speaking continuously. So much research has been done on one verse of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Prabhupada himself writes at least 20-30 pages on that. I mean, we are running short of pages, otherwise Prabhupada would have continued to write a whole book on that verse. On one verse of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Therefore, this is the beauty of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And it is Gayatri Bhashosau. I'll just, I can't stop myself when we study Sanskritam. I don't study Sanskritam, I'm not a student of Sanskritam, I'm just an appreciator of Sanskritam. The word Dhimahi, every Brahmana chants the word Dhimahi, because even in the Gayatri Mantra, the Brahma Gayatri Mantra, we chant Om Bhur Bhuvasuha Tatsaviturvardhan Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi we chant. That Dhimahi, that word Dhimahi is not at all, is an action. Dhimahi means you should focus. Dhimahi. That word is not there in Samskrita Vyakarana at all. If you read Panini's grammar, that Dhimahi does not exist in the grammar at all. It's not a Kriyapada at all. Dhyayema is the Kriyapada, but Dhimahi you will not find a Kriyapada at all. Something for Hayagriva to research. But Acharya Madhva says Dhimahi is Ayam Chandamsi Prayoga. Means this is a Vaidika Vyakarana. Why this is also important? Because we will come to the 17th verse. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was an expert in Samskrita Vyakaranam. This is Sanskrit grammar. Sanskrit grammar, you know, we have Ren and Martin Acharyas in English. You know Ren Acharya and Martin Acharya? Ren and Martin grammar. You've studied Ren and Martin. I don't know what grammar book you study in school. Who is the author of grammar you study? You have a specific author? We only follow certain publishers, Collins Dictionary or Collins Grammar. But usually when I was young, we used to study Wren and Martin Acharya, Wren and Martin grammar. No, for English, you will have some people propounding certain grammar. But in Sanskritam also, there are so many people who have propounded grammars. Panini is one of them. We have our own Sampradaya. What is the Vyakarana from our Sampradaya? Who is the author of our Vyakarana? Jiva Goswami. Harinamamrita Vyakarana. Entire Vyakarana is written only on Harinam. Amazing, amazing compilation. If we have one lifetime, is not enough to study. So, like that, there are so many Vyakarana Shastra. And among that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was famous for teaching at least 6 of them. Imagine, when he was young, when he was about 16 years old, he was teaching 6 types of Vyakarana. So deep grammar is. So that is the beauty. And therefore, the language that is used in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, sometimes you won't find it in any of the mundane grammar studies that you study. Therefore, language of Bhagavatam is very unique. It is even unique, better than the Vedas, it is said. That's the position of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So this is the context we have said. Now let's come to the canto we are discussing and the unique chapter we are discussing. Now, you think about it, Parikshit Maharaj, when this canto is spoken, what do you think, how many days would have been passed? He's come to the 9th canto. How many days did he have to live? 7 days. Can we assume that he was in the 5th day when he came to 9th canto? 5th day, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4 more cantos to go. Now, when he has 3 or 4 more days to go, he's asking, can you please tell me more about Manus? Can you see how important this is? I'm just stating the context. Is it not important? If it was not important, Parikshit Maharaj would not inquire about it. Sometimes we say, we only want to hear the Vrindavan pastimes of Krishna. We don't want to hear anything else. But here, a person who has 4 days to live, he's inquiring with a lot of inquisitiveness to Sukadeva Goswami, please tell us more about this. Please tell me more about the kings, about Manu, about Ikshvaku, about his dynasty. Because human nature has to be studied, human behavior has to be studied. If we do not know our own behavior, then we will not be able to reach to the point of, we have to come to the point of observing ourselves. What sort of a person I am? Who am I? What is my behavior? What is my nature? What is my character? This is called complete awareness of oneself. If we are not coming to this point of being aware of what I do, this is called mindfulness in today's techniques, then how will I even become spiritual? So therefore this becomes very important. So we are reading from many verses. So we had stopped up to verse number 7. So in the 7th verse, Shukadeva Goswami continued, O king, subduer of your enemies, now hear in great detail about the dynasty of Manu. I shall explain as much as possible, although one could not say everything about it, even in hundreds of years. This is the answer of Shukadeva Goswami. He's saying, if I start talking of Manus, even 100 years is not enough. You only have 4 days, Parikshit Maharaj. So I have to make it quick. So this is what Shukadeva Goswami is saying. Vaktum varsha shatairapi. 100 years is not enough. Verse number 8. Paravaresham bhutanam atmayah purushah parah sa eva sedidam vishvam kalpante jnana kinchana. The transcendental supreme person, the super soul of all living entities who are in different statuses of life, high and low, existed at the end of the millennium, when neither this manifested cosmos nor anything else but him existed. Purport. Taking the proper position from which to describe the dynasty of Manu, Shukadeva Goswami begins by saying that when the entire world is inundated, only the Supreme Personality of Godhead exists and nothing else. Shukadeva Goswami will now describe how the Lord creates other things one after another. Time and again in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam you will see this repeated. 2nd canto, 3rd canto, 5th canto, you will see this repeated. Again in the 9th canto it was repeated previously. Now again Shukadeva Goswami starts again to say there was a time when nothing existed, only the Lord existed. Eko havai Narayana asit na esha na Brahma. There was no one except Narayana. Not even Shiva, not even Lord Brahma existed. Why do they say this? Why does Bhagavatam keep repeating this? Why do you think Bhagavatam keeps repeating this? Because it is important to know that the Lord, we also exist, don't we? Doesn't Bhagavad Gita say we also? Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadipa. We also exist always. So why does it say that there was nothing that existed except for the Supreme Lord? How do we understand that? Is it contradictory? Because Krishna says Natvevaham jatunasam. Now here it is saying there was, at one point, entire world was inundated. Only the Supreme Personality of Godhead existed. How do we understand this? Simple. We always exist. The material world also always exists. Material world also is eternal. None of the Shaktis of the Lord are, in one sense, have an end to it. Nothing gets destroyed. Destruction means transformation. So we exist, but we exist in a subtle state, sukshma state, or a subtle state. So therefore, the same verse, Brahmaji also says, Ahameva sameva agre nanyat yat sadasat param paschadaham cha etacha yo vashishyeta sosmeham. It simply means that the Lord is the only independent in this existence. He is the only independent tattva. No one else is independent except Him. We are all dependent. There is only one independent tattva, which is the Supreme Lord. So to reinstate that, that's why this is repeated time and again. Then we go to verse number 9. Here he starts, Tasya nabhe samabhavat padmakosho hiranmayah tasmin jajne maharaja swayambhus chaturananah. O King Parikshit, from the navel of Supreme Personality of Godhead was generated a golden lotus on which the four-faced Lord Brahma took his birth. Now, here, Swayambhus Chaturananaha. It seems, we know Swayambhu means Brahma, but here he is qualified as Chaturanana. What is Chaturananaha? Anana means head. Swayambhu with 4 heads. Our Brahma is having 4 heads. So 4-head Brahma was born. Swayambhu also is a name of the Lord. Swayambhu means one who takes birth without a mother. Because Brahma was born without a mother. Oh, we're going by time. Yeah, few more verses we'll read. Marichir manasastasya jajne tasyapi kashyapah Dakshayanyam tato dityam vivasvana bhavatsutah. From the mind of Lord Brahma, Marichi took birth, and from the semen of Marichi, Kashyapa appeared from the womb of the daughter of Daksha Maharaja. From Kashyapa, by the womb of Aditi, Vivaswan took birth. 11 and 12. I'll continue reading the translations. O king, best of Bharata dynasty, from Vivaswan by the womb of Samna, Shraddhadeva Manu was born. Shraddhadeva Manu, having conquered his senses, begot 10 sons in the womb of his wife, Shraddha. The names of these sons were Ikshvaku, Nriga, Sharyati, Dishta, Drishta, Karushaka, Narishyanta, Prashadra, Nabhaga and Kavi. Did you notice one very interesting thing Prabhupada writes? Vivaswan was born by the womb of Samna. Shraddhadeva Manu was born. Shraddhadeva Manu, having conquered his senses, begot 10 sons in the womb of his wife. It's very interesting. The activity he is doing is to produce children. But Prabhupada writes, Manu, having conquered his senses, begot 10 sons in the womb of his wife, Shraddha. Shraddhadeva and Shraddha. It is very important to understand, Manu begetting children is not a biological activity that we are exposed to, that we see in this material world. It is the dealings of the devatas and the dealings of very higher beings. That is why Prabhupada makes it a point, having conquered his senses, because they are progenitors of mankind. They are not low-class human beings who are engaged in sexual affairs. That is why Prabhupada says, having conquered his senses. Krishna says, Kamosmi Bharatarshava. That activity which is according to dharma, that activity I am, Krishna says. Therefore, having conquered his senses, he begot 10 sons. Then, verse number 13. Manu at first had no sons, who was very powerful in spiritual knowledge, performed a sacrifice to satisfy the demigods Mitra and Varuna. Which Manu are we talking about here? Huh? Why Vivaswan? Vivaswan or Ikshvaku? It's Vivaswan. During the sacrifice, Shraddha, it is Shraddha, we are talking of Shraddha Deva. Shraddha, Manu's wife, who was observing the vow of subsisting only by drinking milk, approached the priest offering the sacrifice, offered obeisances to him, and begged for a daughter. Who wants a daughter? Shraddha, wife wants a daughter. Told by the chief priest, now offer oblations, the person in charge of oblations took clarified butter to offer. He then remembered the request of Manu's wife and performed the sacrifice while chanting the word of Vashat. 16. Manu, now this is where the interesting thing happens. What has happened so far? What has happened so far? In verse number 14, it says, Tatra Shraddha Manoh Patni Hotaram Samayachata Duhitrartham Upagamya Pranipatya Payovrata. Payovrata means. So she goes to the Hota. There are two priests. Actually, when we actually do a yagna, Vedic yagna, have you seen a Vedic yagna? A Vedic yagna is usually done with 3 yagna kundas. You know the fire sacrifice thing that we do, there usually is four of those types. 3 for 3 types of Vedas, which is Sama, Yajus and Rig, and one more is done by the chief priest. There are 3 Vedas only actually. According to the classification, there are only 3 Vedas. Rig, Yajus, Samus. Triveda, Krishna also uses. Trividya, we say. Trividya means 3 Vedas. Now how it is done is there will be a chief priest and there are 3 types of Vedic people sitting against 3 kundas. And the chief priest will be running the whole yagna correctly. Even if there is one mistake or one chanting of the mantra wrong, then all of the repercussions has to be borne by the main chief priest. This chief priest is called as Adhvarya. And each priest who is pouring ghee into the fire is also, he's called as Hotaram. So here she has gone and asked to the Hota. Hota is the priest who is sitting next to the fire. So what has happened? She has gone to the Hota and she says, I want a daughter. And this is the request she has asked. And this Hota is doing the yagna. Chief priest is sitting somewhere else. He's called the Adhvaru. Now Manu had begun the sacrifice for the sake of getting a son. Okay, but because the priest was diverted by the request of Manu's wife, a daughter named Ila was born. Upon seeing the daughter, Manu was not very satisfied. Thus he spoke to his guru Vashishta as follows. So Vashishta was the chief priest. He's called the Adhvaryu. The Adhvaryu has promised the Yajaman, who is Manu, that okay, we will do this yagna for you to beget a son. Because why he needs a son? Why does Manu need a son? To progenitor of a mankind, to continue the mankind. He needs one son, right? So he needs a son for it. It doesn't mean he's against daughters. We have to understand that. So he needed a son. In the same way, our Dasharatha also needed a son. That's why he does a yagna for begetting Rama. But by then he already had daughters. Rama already had a sister. Before Rama was born, Rama had a sister. So therefore he was yearning for a son. So here he wanted a son, but now what has happened? A daughter has been born, Ila has been born. So he's asking Vashishta, something is wrong has happened, Vashishta Muni. I had desired for a son. We did this yagna for a son. How come a daughter has arrived now? Because Manu had no issue, he was pleased at the birth of the child, even though a daughter, and gave her the name Ila. Later, however, he was not very satisfied to see the daughter instead of a son. Because he had no issue, he was certainly very glad at the birth of Ila, but his pleasure was temporary. We will read 17 and we will discuss for a few minutes. My Lord, all of you are expert in chanting the Vedic mantras. How then has the result then been opposite to the one desired? This is a matter of lamentation. There should not have been such a reversal of the results of the Vedic mantras. I'll read the purport. In this age, the performance of yagna has been forbidden because no one can properly chant the Vedic mantras. If Vedic mantras are chanted properly, the desire for which a sacrifice is performed must be successful. Therefore, the Hare Krishna chanting is called the Maha Mantra, the great exalted mantra above all Vedic mantras, because simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, it brings so many beneficial effects. So what has happened? Bhagavan, kim idam jatam karmavo brahmavadinam viparyayam aho kashtam maivam syad brahma vikriya. He's asking Vashishta Muni, I had desired for a son, how come something reverse has happened? This is what he's asking Vashishta Muni. Because Vashishta is the chief priest. Because he doesn't know, the wife has gone and asked the Hota. That's why we have to understand, wife and husband has to have sammata before doing anything. They have to agree on one point, otherwise this is what will happen. And that's why you imagine this person, Sudyumna, his life is very painful actually. You will see as we go ahead, he's born as a girl, but then they go and pray to the Lord, and then he'll be converted to a man. And then he gets converted into a woman, and then again he can never go back to man. Then Shiva says, I cannot do what the Lord does. So every month, 1 month he'll be a man, 1 month he'll be a woman. So it's a very, very horrifying life actually of Sudyumna, which we will see. But Prabhupada here makes a point. The mood of Prabhupada is, in today's day and age, how is that applicable to us? In today's day and age, nobody can do a proper Vedic sacrifice. Why? Nobody can do a proper Vedic sacrifice. Correct, because first of all, chanting of the mantra, the Shuddha Ucharanam, the pure pronunciation of a mantra, because Sanskritam is very difficult. So the word Kritagna, what is the word Kritagna? It is not Gya, Gna. Kritagna. That pronunciation itself is gone now. People cannot pronounce Gna. They have changed it to Gya. You see, they say Yagya. It is not Yagya. It is Yagna. It is actually Yagna. It is not Gya. They cannot pronounce Gna. It has become Gya. It is normalized as that. That is not Gya. It is Gna. Yagna. Kritagna. That word Kritagna, if you do not pronounce it properly and pronounce it Kritagna, what happens? What is the difference between Kritagna and Kritagna? You see, it's very simple difference, but it has totally opposite meaning. What is Kritagna? Kritagna? Kritagna means I am expressing gratitude. Kritagna means what? Completely ingratitude. You are completely ingratitude. So it's opposite meaning with a slight difference in pronunciation. So that is the difficulty in Sanskritam. And today we can't even twist our tongues. We can't even pronounce properly certain mantras. So therefore Prabhupada says for fallen jivas, don't even try. Because first of all, chanting of the mantras is not appropriate. Second thing, the ingredients are not pure. Ghee. We have to pour a lot of ghee. The ghee, pure ghee you will not get. Australian pure ghee you will get, but actually it is not ghee. Ghee means it is made from churning butter. You ask the company, have you made it from churning butter and is it cultured? It's not cultured. So the ghee that we get is not from cultured butter because culturing takes a little longer process. So therefore, whoever has studied industrial engineering, if you ferment it, then another day will pass and temperature has to be kept. So therefore, the cost of the ghee increases. So if you really want churned butter, it's about $50 a kilo. Who will buy $50 a kilo? Nobody. So therefore, they cut short the process. So they want the price to reduce. So they'll sell you at $20 a kilo, which is not butter. So therefore, the ingredients are not pure. The wood is not pure. You need to have an arani. It's a specific wood. You can't use any other wood. Eco wood, where it is smokeless wood. All these wood, you can't use such woods. It has to be used in a proper way. So therefore, Prabhupada says, it is forbidden because no one can properly chant the Vedic mantras. But if you chant it properly, of course you can get the result, proper result. But because nobody can chant the mantras properly, you will not. Prabhupada then gives us a solution. What's the solution? Prabhupada says, therefore we have a Maha Mantra. The Maha Mantra is an exalted mantra because simply by chanting the Krishna Maha Mantra, it brings beneficial effects. Whatever effect we want, we can chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And here, Prabhupada quotes, as explained by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Sikshashtaka verse Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam Shreyah kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadho jeevanam Anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam purnamrutasvadanam Sarvatmanasnapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Glory of Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. The Sankirtana movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Therefore, the best performance of yagna given to us is the Sankirtan yagna. Yagnai Sankirtana prayar yajanti hi sumedashah. Bhagavatam 11:5-32. Those who are intelligent take advantage of the greatest yagna in this age by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in the congregation. When the Hare Krishna mantra is chanted by many men together, the chanting is called Sankirtana. And as a result of such yagna, there will be clouds in the sky. Yagnat bhavati parjanya. In these days of drought, people can gain relief from scarcity of rain and food by simple method of Hare Krishna yagna. Indeed, this can relieve all of human society. At present, there are droughts throughout Europe and America, and people are suffering. But if people take this Krishna consciousness movement seriously, if they stop their sinful activities and chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, all their problems will be solved without difficulty. In other processes of yagna, there are difficulties because there are no learned scholars who can chant the mantras perfectly well. Nor is it possible to secure the ingredients to perform the yagna. Because human society is poverty-stricken and men are devoid of Vedic knowledge, and the power to chant the Vedic mantras, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, is the only shelter. People should be intelligent enough to chant it. Yagnai Sankirtanah prayar yajanti hi sumedashah. Those whose brains are dull cannot understand this chanting, nor can they take to it. So Prabhupada highlights the importance of Sankirtana Yagna, which is given to us by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Sikshashtakam. Now, why this is important? If you apply this, think about during those times, we are talking of the beginning of millennia, Vashishta Muni and the Hotas, they are expert in chanting. Even they stuffed up the yagna. He got a daughter instead of a son. What to talk of us? That's why Prabhupada says, don't even give it a try. Don't even waste time. So, that's why Prabhupada brings up this verse, Cheto. What is the effect of Sankirtan? When we chant Sankirtana, what is the effect? We will just discuss 5 minutes about the 7 powerful effects of Sankirtan Yagna, which is written in this verse, in Cheto Darpana Marjanam. The first is Cheto Darpana Marjanam. What is Cheto? Cheto means the heart, or the chitta, as I said, the memory shell. Darpana means mirror. Marjana means to erase or clean. Why? This is the first process. This verse 1 and 2 of the Shikshashtakam talks about sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti means the initial stages when we come to the pure unalloyed devotional stage. This is the first step. And what is the first step? The entire teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again is compressed in these 8 verses. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes a detailed commentary on Shikshashtakam called Sanmodana Bhashya. So, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. When we chant, when we do Harinam Sankirtan, the first step is it removes or cleans the chitta. The memory shell is cleaned. Because that is important. Because chitta is a reservoir of consciousness. If you want to see yourself, if I want to see myself, I need to have a mirror. That mirror is chitta. I have to see myself in the mirror. Myself means what? My consciousness. I can see my consciousness in the mirror of the chitta. But if my chitta is dirty, what can I see? I cannot see myself. So therefore the chitta is filled with impressions of my life. Millions of lifetimes of impressions are imprinted on this chitta. That has to be cleaned. How do you clean it? You cannot use, what is that? Window cleaner. You cannot spray, it's not physical. It is subtle. How do you clean it? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. This Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam cleanses the chitta, the heart of accumulated dirt. So the first effect of Harinam Sankirtan is it cleanses, it starts the cleansing process. And little bit of my face it becomes visible in the mirror of my consciousness. So just as we always talk about this, when you switch on a torch, when you put a red, green, blue glass, your white light is now tainted with different colors. Similarly, our consciousness is tainted because of the tainted colors of the chitta. When that becomes transparent, then pure transcendental white light emanates. That light is consciousness. So that is the beauty of the first stage or effect of Sankirtanam, which is Cheto Darpanam Arjanam. Then the next effect, Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. Bhava means this material world. This material world is compared to Mahadava Agni. Agni means fire. It is a forest fire. When we chant Hare Krishna mantra, it douses the forest fire. What does it mean? How do we understand? It's a metaphorical way to put it. What does it mean to say Harinam Sankirtan douses the material fire? How do we understand it? In our effect, how does it affect us or me? Huh? Yes, that. We are all burdened by one thing, our unlimited, infinite material desires. That is what we carry. That is what pulls us down. That is why we struggle. It includes the affection towards the body, the senses, the family, the expansion of the senses, everything. All of this is a burden we are carrying, and that burden is like a fire which burns us. And therefore, Bhava Maha Davagni Nirvapanam, it removes all of this attachment gradually. It removes it. And the third one, Shreyaha Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. As a spirit soul, when his consciousness is cleansed, when the material attachments are removed, the first effect that he feels light. When he feels light, he feels his heart is pacified now. He feels the cool, dazzling light that is emanating from the moon. Shreyaha Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. As if he is standing on a blue lotus. Blue lotus's blossom gets blossomed on a full moon night. On a full moon night, the moon's rays are very pleasing to the heart. So the jiva feels very pleasing. He gets very pleased because the burden is removed. His consciousness is purified. Now there is no more material desire anymore. So this is the third effect, that he sees that there is benediction moon that is, because now he is experiencing the Alladini potency of the Lord, that is because now he is getting access to that energy of the Lord. Then Vidya Vadhu Jivanam. Vadhu means wife, new wife. Vidya Vadhu means it is the life of transcendental knowledge. This is also there in the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, you know the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, 10.8, 9, 10, 11. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. Then he says Matchitta madgatah prana. Then what is the third verse of the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita? Who knows? Tesham bhajatam priti purvakam. In that, Tesham means what? All those. Who are those Krishna is referring to? Who is Krishna talking about? Tesham means who? You have to go to the previous verse. Who? Matchitta madgatah prana bodayantah parasparan kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti ramanticha. These devotees, Tesham satatayuktanam, tesham satatayuktanam, what do? Bhajatam priti purvakam, dadami buddhi yogam tam. What is the first reciprocation Krishna does? Not Krishna prema. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. He gives them transcendental knowledge. With that transcendental knowledge, dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. Because transcendental knowledge is important to establish sambandha with the Lord. Relationship. Then only prema comes. Before prema, establish the sambandha. This is what is called as vidya vadhu jivanam. Shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam vidya vadhu jivanam. Just like you establish a newly wife and husband relationship, we establish the relationship with the Supreme Lord with transcendental knowledge. Fresh transcendental knowledge. That is the fourth effect. The fifth effect is Anandambudhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam. Anandambudhi Vardhanam means we will see that the ocean of bliss increases. When I establish that sambandha with Krishna, then I see I am eternal, Krishna is eternal, and my relationship with Krishna is eternal. Then it increases my bliss like an ocean. There is no more lamentation anymore. Now I have real access to Anandambudhi. Ambudhi means the ocean. Actually, it is an ocean. And it is this ocean we are all yearning to drink from. But because we are in this material world, we always think, oh, it is so bad. It is so, this is it is called Nirananda. It's place of misery. So although as a soul, we always hanker for pleasure. It is this pleasure. Anandambudhi Vardhanam. And then Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam. It is not that you have to, when someone reaches at the stage of bhava, it is not that he has to go to the nth degree to experience aswadan. It is every step, Pratipadam Purnamrita. You'll taste the nectar every step you're tasting. This is told by Krishna in the second verse of the 9th chapter. Pratyaksha avagamam susukham dharmyam. He says every sense will be experiencing it, will be able to witness the bhakti. Then sarvatmana snapanam param vijayate shik. Sarvatmana. Then the jiva is bathing in that bliss. Sarvatmana. Sarvatmana means his entire existence is bathed. And he realizes his eternal swarupa, that I am Krishna's servant. And therefore he starts taking pleasure. One may think, isn't that selfish to take pleasure? No, our real swarupa is to take pleasure out of bhakti. Because we also are pleasure-seeking entities. Jiva also is pleasure-seeking entities. That is why when we talk about Vidyavadu Jivanam, see, if you see the material world around us, everybody is hankering for knowledge, is it not? Today, in today's day and age, they're all, the new advent is AI, artificial intelligence. We want to gather knowledge as soon as possible. Therefore, we are using tools so that they can fasten the acquisition of knowledge. The problem is, the more and more we try to acquire material knowledge, the more and more we get bogged down by it, because our intelligence is not meant for gathering material knowledge, but to gather transcendental knowledge. So that is our real intelligence, rather than rely on artificial intelligence. So these are the 7 effects. What is that? 7 effects: Cheto Darpana Marjanam, Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam, Shreha Kairo Chandrika Vitaranam, Vidyavadu Jivanam, Anandabudhi Vardhanam, Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam, and Sarvatmana Snapanam. How is this 7 effects achieved? By Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sankirtana. Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Of course, Chaitanya Sankirtanam also. So this is what Mahaprabhu gave us, and this is what Srila Prabhupada gave us, that just by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, everything becomes perfect. And this is given to us by Srila Prabhupada. So I'll stop here. Thank you so much. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If there are any questions or comments, we can discuss for a few seconds, or we can stop after that. Yes, Mataji.
Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is compilation of all the Brahma Sutras?
If you go to Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Prabhupada mentions that in the 26th chapter, I think, Mataji.
Okay.
Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. If you go to Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Yeah, 20th, I think. The goal of Vedanta study. Oh no, 23rd chapter, I think. Yeah, 23rd. Chapter 23. Why study the Vedanta Sutra?
Okay.
Prabhupada writes that verse from Garuda Purana. Sorry, not Skanda Purana. Garuda Purana. Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam Bharatartha Viniranayaha. Any other questions or comments? Yes, Prabhuji. In fact, that verse also says, Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam, it gives the Artha of Brahma Sutras. Then Bharatartha Vinirnayaha. Bharata means what? Mahabharata. It is the culmination of Mahabharata also. And Gayatri Bhasha Rupavasau Vedartha Paribrimhitaha. It is written in Gayatri Bhasha, that is Veda Bhasha. And Vedartha Paribrim, the whole meaning of the Vedas are also, it is full, Paribrimhitaha. So that is Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, thank you for the nice class.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, you mentioned that Prabhupada here says that we should not do any yagnas because the Brahmanas, they don't know how to pronounce properly the mantras. So why we do yagnas these days? It's just a form of formality? Why?
Good question. Why do we do yagnas? Do yagna. Yagna. We still do yagna, a lot of yagnas, yeah? Prabhupada says, yagna is forbidden means, it doesn't mean we should completely, like for example, Vedas. Nobody knows how to chant the Vedic mantras. Does it mean we should not study the Vedas? We should. We should make an attempt to purify it. We should make an attempt to whatever perfection we can do based on suppose I'm a Brahmana. It is important that I should know how to do yagna. Sankirtana yagna is important, but at the same time, Vedic study is also important, because if we completely abandon the Vedic study, then that is also not good, because that is also the quality of a Brahmana. Samadhama tapas saucham, that is also the quality of a Brahman to study the Vedas. Similarly, yagna has to be done. But the process of our yagna is different, because if we know how to do the yagna, that yagna, Krishna says, Bhoktaram yagna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam jnatva mam shantim rachyati. What Prabhupada means is not to completely abandon yagna, but to come to the point of really understanding the original purpose of doing yagna is to please Krishna. If that goal is kept in mind, then whatever shortcomings there are in the yagna is covered, because the goal was to please Krishna. The idea is not to abandon activities. The idea is to do it with a proper goal and goal in mind, which is to please Krishna. That is the perspective. That is why we do yagna, Prabhuji. That is why devotees are also perfecting the way they do yagna also. This is more for those people who do karma kandiya processes of yagna. They sit and do yagnas for achieving material prosperity. They don't do this to please Krishna. So such yagna will not bear any fruit. That is what Prabhupada says. And of course, when you cannot compare, and another reason for doing yagna is, Sankirtana is glorifying the Lord through the medium of sound and His names, sound vibrations. Yagna is also the same thing. Chanting the Vedic mantra also is glorifying the Lord by His various names in the Vedic mantras. For example, Purusha Sukta. Purusha Sukta is nothing but glorifying the Lord only. Sahasra Shirsha Purusha, when we talk about Purusha Sukta, that is also glorifying the Supreme Lord, and also worshipping the Lord coming in the form of a fire. Sound is only through ears. Yagna allows you to worship the Lord through another element, sound and form, called fire. Similarly, deity allows you to worship the Lord through the medium of sound, through the medium of earth, which is the deity that you have made. You know, many elements, earth, fire, sound, sometimes you pour water, so water, and so many ways you can worship the Lord. So fire allows us to worship the Lord in the form of, yagna allows us to worship the Lord in the form of fire, because the Lord can come in the form of fire and eat everything. In the Krishna Leela, He swallows the whole fire. So Krishna is fire because fire purifies. So that is another purpose of doing yagna, to worship the Lord in many ways. Makes sense, Prabhuji? This is just my limited understanding.
No, it makes sense.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Prabhu, thank you so much for the beautiful class. Prabhu, that he said yagya, that also I'm thinking maybe our intention is there, why we are doing the yagya, and also we do the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So
Yes.
even if the mantras are not pronounced right,
Yes.
so that will,
Yes.
and also Prabhu, that
It is, if you see the Vaishnava Paramparas, when they do yagna, I've seen this, they also know this, that the mantras will not, some truti, some mistake will be done. So that is why it says, they will, you know the Kshama mantra we have outside, when we come into the paraphernalia, Mantrahinam, Kriyahinam, Bhaktihinam, Janardhana, Yat Pujitam Maya Devam, Paripurnam Tadastume, Yad Dattam Bhakti Matrena, Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Jalam, Aveditam Nivedyantu Tadghran. So we pray Kshama. So like that, so they also say, Idam Sarvam Krishna Arpanamastu. They say everything is offered to you, my dear Lord, whatever mistake is there, please excuse me. So, as to err is human. So
and Prabhu, that Sankirtanam, so we are chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. What about the reading, giving others the knowledge and all that is also?
Yes,
so without that we have to chant all the time.
They all come under Sankirtanam.
Okay.
Right now we are doing Sankirtan. Right now we are reading Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, glorification of the Lord. So it is a Maha Mantra, and Bhagavatam also is inside that mantra. So chanting the mantra, singing the mantra, studying Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, speaking Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Kirtanam, Shravanam, Kirtanam. So it's all included, all inclusive. Deity worship, they're all included inside it.
And you said yagna and yagya, that's not always different meaning, is it? Like you say kridakna, kridakya.
Yeah. It is yagna. The pronunciation is yagna.
Not yagya.
No.
Oh, yagna. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yagna.
much, Prabhu.
G-N-A.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, शिला प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, श्रीवांचा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यो ज्योतिर्गणः।